Hi, it's Sandy Parker, and welcome to Crafting for Almost Everyone. Well, today is a really special day because I've gotten a bunch of new stamp sets from my friends at Rubber Stamp Tapestry, www.pegstamps.com. But first I want to show you a card I got in the mail. I got this card from my friend Marie-Christine in France. I love getting cards from overseas. Look at the 3D dimension on this. It's just beautiful. And then on the back, it has her name. I love it, Marie. Thank you so much for sending this to me. I'll cherish it. Then my good friends at Rubber Stamp Tapestry, the Peg Stamp people, as you know, sent me all the new stamp releases that came out, including the ones that Lindsay designed. So I'll show you those first. Now, Lindsay's are the red rubber stamps that are ones that you need to cut apart. This set is called Budding Spring. I hope you can see that. I want to make sure the glare doesn't kill it so that you can see it really well. Okay. I like this one because it's got the rabbit. You can set the rabbit on top of the tree stump, and then the different birds you can put in the tree, and the tree's got buds on it for spring. Love that. Then the next one is succulents, and I really love the succulents. That you can really do a lot with these, and I probably will be playing with that soon. Then this one is for fall. It's called Woodland Harvest. It's got the same tree trunk, but this time it has the top cut out of it so that it's already got the masking done for you so that you can set an animal there without any problem. Then it's got some bigger acorns. I love acorns, so that's a really fun thing to use. Then this one is called Trees. Weirdly enough, it's called Trees because just trees. Really great idea because you can just, do so much in backgrounds and in creating scenes with that. And then finally, these are all the Lindsay ones. This is called Woods in Winter. So she's giving you winter, fall, and spring. And I guess summer must be coming because there's not one for summer. But I really think this one's fun to use because this tree has so much that you can fill in and do with it. I'm going to love using that. So let me show you the other stamp sets that they sent. This one is called Red Geraniums. And I'm going to flip that one over so you can see the top. I like to make sure that I show you these as close up as I can. Look at that geranium. Isn't that really cool? I just think geraniums are so cool. And if you're a fan of geraniums, then they have this set called Cottage Geraniums. Remember, this one was called Red Geranium. This is Cottage Geranium. It's a smaller geranium with smaller leaf, smaller buds. I think that's really fun. Then there's Giddy Up. Great for men. Got a hat and a cactus, a horseshoe, a fun mustache, and a horse. Really, really fun. Look at that. Giddy Up. I love that mustache. It makes me laugh every time I see it. I convinced myself it wasn't a mustache at first, and then I thought, well, what else could it be besides a mustache? It's a mustache. You know how these things are with me. I'm a little bit off. I really am in love with this one, The Sweet Song of Spring, and the bird is shorter than the rest, so he keeps moving to the bottom. I hope you can see him. But it's got a daisy in it and leaves, and it looks like a little sunburst and a little flower, and then the birdie, really pretty. And then this is my favorite of all these stamp sets. It's called Sparkle and Shine. It's got these really fun, they almost look like a ball of yarn. I'll flip it up so you can see them. See what I'm talking about? How the way that they're built, they could be a flower, or you can make them into something else, but I think they're really, really interesting. Now I'm going to get to the last set, and before I get to it, I want to explain something to you. I contacted Rebecca, who's one of the owners of Rubber Stamp Tapestry, and I said to her, I really, really would wonder if you would be able to make me just a simple red rubber circle and put it on the end of your peg stamps because I would love to layer with that. And Rebecca said, I think we could do that. So then she sent them to me, and I made some backgrounds and sent them back to her. and she said, I love them. We're gonna make a stamp set. She goes, what would you call it? And I thought she was just saying, you know, if I was gonna name it something, what would I name it? And I said, I would call those perfect layering circles. And didn't she name this set Perfect Layering Circles? I'm so excited. So now you guys are the only ones that know that this was my idea. It's not like it's something that was really tricky, but I'm going to be using this today so that you can see how cool these kind of stamps work. And I'm going to probably be using it with the Sparkle and Shine set because I really like, as I said, I really like the image. I love the look of these with the kind of ball of yarn look to these flowers, so I think they'll come out really well when worked in conjunction with the Perfect Layering Circles. So excited about that, I can't even tell you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some oxide inks for my layering circles, and let me get everything out of the way and come back with everything we're going to use. So the first step when you're doing anything with these perfect layering circles, you're going to use an ink that is going to really be not transparent. So don't use your dye-based inks for this. You're going to want to use your inks that are either Distress Oxide or pigment inks, and these are from Colorbox. They're Cat's Eyes, and the colors are Chambray, Plumeria, Mint, Butter, Fawn, and Black Cherry. And then I'm going to be using Picked Raspberry, Candied Apple, and Spiced Marmalade in the Distress Oxides. And you want to make sure when you're stamping these that you pick a stamp in the peg stamps. When you're using the stamps that go along with it, I'm going to just dump these out. What you have to make sure of is that if I want to make sure, if I want to use this stamp, I want to make sure I use this perfect layering circle on it before. So you want to make sure that when you're stamping, if you know what stamps you're going to be using, I'm just going to kind of show you the stamps I'm going to use. You want to make sure, if you do use any of these, that you use the right circle to go with it. So I'm probably going to use, let's see, these ones. And then I'm going to use this, but I'm not going to use a circle behind it. And so that means I think that's all the circles I'm going to need for this. I might need more later, but for now we're just going to go with these two sizes and these two flowers. And I'm going to use 3 different colors, the pink, the red, and the orange, basically. Hopefully you can see them. If you can't, I apologize. You will when they hit the ink or on the pad. Now here's something else you want to do when you're stamping these. I'm doing this so you can see it, not for my own benefit, but you want to do this with your ink pad, and you want to make sure that your image is really covered with ink. If it's not, it's okay, because you can go back in and stamp it again, because you'll be able to see exactly where your circle is. Now I'm going to have a scrap piece of paper under this, but I have a piece of foam, and the foam is there to make it so that when I stamp these, I have a really good stamped image, because it gives you a little buffer, we'll say. So I'm going to just hold this in place for a second. You're going to stamp all of one color first, and then you're going to go to the other color. Perfect circle. Do you love it? I love it. I have my own set of several of them, well, 3 I think, and they asked me not to use them until on camera until they were released, and since today is the release date, I'm going to be able to show you these, and I'm so excited because I just love them. I know you will too. They're so much fun. Wait till you see how much fun the images just come out. So cool. And you can use punches with them or dies to make them, if you want to have layers that are raised. And of course we'll be doing that in a second, you know. I'm going to put one off the page. that. And I think I want to do one more down in here, but still on the page. And I'm just making sure that I take the time to make sure my ink transfers from the stamp to the paper. Now you can see, hopefully, I'm going to move this back a little bit. Hopefully you can see on this that I didn't do a really good job of inking it. So all you're going to do is you're just going to line your circle up again and just hold it in place and just restamp over it. And if you want all of yours to be a little bit darker, just do the same thing. Ink them. Make sure that you get enough ink on your stamp. You know me, I love double stamping anything. If I can double stamp, I'm ecstatic because I like to make sure I have a really bold image. Okay, that's the pink. So now I'm just going to take my stamp cleaner and wipe that off. And for those of you who don't know, I buy these little bottles that pump. I don't know if you can see this, like that pump like an alcohol when you go to the doctor's. I buy that. I found mine on Aliexpress, but people have told me you can buy them at the Dollar Tree. But I have the world's worst Dollar Tree, so unfortunately, we don't have it available in ours. But if you do in yours, go for it. You know, get the ones you want. Okay, now I'm going to go with the red. I'm going to put it closer so hopefully you can see it. And again, we're going to just make sure. Red is kind of tricky because your stamp is red, so you have to really make sure that you check to make sure you have it well inked. I'm going to do this one off the edge. Inking from the side. Sometimes I just make no sense. Rich said that I'm like, if you've ever seen the movie, I think it's called Up or Up in the Air. It's a cartoon movie where there's this dog that talks and he gets really distracted every time they say the word squirrel. That's kind of how I am. I start doing things and then all of a sudden I'm completely distracted and it's like I said squirrel, or someone else said squirrel, and I am excited and confused by the whole thing. Like a dog is when they see or hear the word squirrel. Okay, our next step, I'm going to use this mint, and when you use these stamps, you see how it's thinner, the stamped image is thinner than the stamp. You need to make sure that you trim off the red on either side. You just want to trim off the edge like that. So I'm going to do that off camera. So this is the kind of trimming you want to do. You just want to make sure that your stamped image is the only thing left on this in the red rubber, because otherwise you're going to end up stamping that red rubber image, the line of it, onto your background. And you want to line up the bottom of your leaf with this line. So if I'm going to do straight up and down, then I would have it facing me. In my case, I'm going to turn it a little bit to the side. Okay, so that's what we're going to do with those for right now. And these all came from this set called Sparkle and Shine. Just in case you forgot that, I wanted to make sure you did. So let me get one of my micro brushes and I'll show you how I fix mistakes like that. Your micro brushes come in a bottle kind of like this. You get 100 of them for under $2, at least I did, from Aliexpress. It's completely up to you where you buy them, but that's where I found mine. You're just going to tap it into your ink, and just very, very lightly. I'm going to draw in some of my lines. Alright, so that is that. Now let's dry this up. So our next step is our leaf. I'm trying to decide what my flowers that I'm going to stamp in. So I'm going to want a darker red, and now I'm going to want a dye-based ink, because I can make a dye-based ink you can find that's darker, but it's going to be dark, but you can see through it. So let me grab those, and I'll be right back. So I decided the colors I'm going to use are Stampin' Up! Colors. This is Tangelo Twist, which of course you can't see right now. Then Melon, Mambo, and I think this is Cherry Cobbler. Yeah, Cherry Cobbler. So those are the colors we're going to be using, and we're going to be stamping our little flowers into it. We have the big flower that we're going to stamp into the pink, so I might as well do that one first, because you know I'll get confused otherwise. So I'm going to put this is Melon Mambo, and this is my bigger flower, and I picked colors that should be a shade darker than the layer underneath. That's my goal anyway, and I'm going to really hold these in place for a second, because I really want them to transfer the ink. You see that? Hopefully you can. And this is Cherry Cobbler. Making sure that I really get this well inked. Okay, that's that color. Then our next color is going to be Tangelo Twist. Okay, I decided I was going to go with the Wilted Violet. It's kind of frisky. Okay, now I'm going to grab another stamp that's like a swirly kind of stamp, and I'll be right back. This is called Loop Double Swirl, or Double Loop Swirl. I'm going to use Peacock Feathers as my distress ink that I'm going to do this little swirl with. It's a bluish green. Then out of another set that's called Sweet Song of Spring, there's a little sun, and I thought I would use Fossilized Amber and just put little suns here and there. I think that's all of these I'm going to do. I'm going to get one of my smaller punches, and I'm going to punch out some circles, and we're going to overstamp them with the punched circles. Okay, so I smashed my picked raspberry ink pad, the oxidized ink. I smashed it into my paper, and then I just dried it so it's nice and dry, and none of my ink will come off on my hands. And I'm using Rose Red, this is Stampin' Up! Ink, and I'm going to stamp, hopefully, I'm going to stamp 5 of these. I'm going to have to dry them too. I think these are darker than the pink ones we used before. I'm hoping they are anyway. Okay, let me dry these 3. I don't know if you can see the red on this. Hopefully you can. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a marker. You could use your red. You could use your red ink pad or a re-inker. I'm going to use the marker because it's easier for me to just scribble it on here. And then I'm just going to wet it a little bit. These containers that peg stamps come in are really handy for this technique. It would have worked for the card I made yesterday where I did the Crayola markers. It works for things like that as well. I just want to make this image darker, and so what I'm doing here is just coloring it in. Dry these up and see what it looks like. Okay, next step, we're going to punch these out. Here's my little circle punch, and all you're going to do is you're going to put it in so that your flower is completely in the center. Pop it out. This one, that one out. So there are 5 punched circles, and that was a 1-inch punch that we used. And this one, this is the one that we need to trim off. And I'll wait until we attach that with our foam squares. Once our foam squares are on these, we can put them onto the background and we'll be ready to roll. I'm going to take the backs off of these and attach them to our background. See if they look better once they have jewel in the middle. We'll trim off the top of this one. Let's try stamping one of these and see what we get. You know, I like to live on the edge and try all kinds of crazy things after the fact. Maybe I'll do it the other way. Put it like that. Lay that on top like that. And see what we get. I think we should do that. What do you think? It kind of looks decent. We're going to try it. You know, I like to fly by the seat of my pants, but I don't like to do it when the card is already put together like this one, and I worry that I'm going to completely ruin the card, which is what I'm, about ready to throw up right now, just thinking about how I'm kind of on the edge of ruining this card. But right now, the stamps are working really great, and hard to believe with just that little piece of fun foam or foam tape underneath that it's working as well as it is. So here are our jewels that we're going to do. I'm going to use the red ones. I think I'm going to put it right in here. To do the flag, we're just going to cut into the center. Like that. And then from each edge. I was going to put this on foam squares, but now that I've played with it a little, I think it actually looks better just flat because of the raised flowers around it. Just a thought I'm having. So let's put some of my crazy big ATG on here. If you know, I don't love this, and the reason I don't love it is when you're left-handed, these are made for right-handed people, you can't see where the tape is going, so I'm always just putting tape wherever it lands, which isn't a great way to do it, but unfortunately when you're left-handed you can't see where the tape is going, so I live in the edge like that. And I'm going to put a couple dots of wet glue on it. Okay, now the paper I have for it, I don't know if this is even going to work, but I have this sparkle paper that I had, a 12 by 12 sheet, and I found this much of it left, so I trimmed it down. I thought it would be fun to put that on there because of the sparkles on it. That's what I was thinking anyway. I'm also going to put the wet glue on it too, because when I use this, as I said, you never know where it's going, so I want to make sure I end up having it where I need it. And I'm not sure with that glitter, I'm not sure if this will stick to glitter. So I put a little bit of wet glue on the back of our sentiment, or our piece that we're going to layer on here. That looks alright. What do you think? I think it looks good. I like the sparkle. Do you like the sparkle? Now I could take a Wink of Stella pen and put some sparkle on all of my flowers, but I don't want to go overboard with the sparkle, so I think just having it on the edges, hopefully you can see that my paper is sparkly. I hope that works, and I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a try. I'm going to do it like this. I'm holding it in place. Good! Didn't think it would work. Now I have my envelope, and I thought what I would do with my envelope is I would just take regular Distress ink, and I'm going to use the Picked Raspberry. And then on the front, I'm just going to put one down the bottom. And we're going to go for the leafy, viney piece. And I'm going to use just Always Artichoke. It's a Stampin' Up ink that's dye-based ink, so it'll dry fast. Let's put a couple like that, and then on this, that way my flowers on my card and my flowers on my envelope match. And I do have this, the pink plaid paper that I turned into an envelope, that I had some papers that I just didn't think I'd use. So this is my first card with the new peg stamps, including our new perfect layering circles. very excited about those. I hope that you'll give these a try and that you'll find some ways to do something a little bit out of the ordinary with your peg stamps, and that you'll give this a thumbs up and subscribe. Please tell your friends about me on social media because you know I love that. And thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.